Hey, what is up, everyone? This is Ete with another episode of Eco Lawn Science here in Heber City, Utah. Today's show, we're going to be talking about repairing dead spots, bad spots, bare spots in your lawn, whatever you want to call them, and the most cost-effective way to do it and the quickest way to do it. And there's not a one-size-fits-all for this. It really is going to depend on the situation, the problem that you have. But this is a question that we get all the time with our clients. You know, hey, I got this dead spot from my dog, or our sprinklers were off this summer and we lost a big chunk of grass, or a fungus, an insect took over a little area, and how do I repair it? What do you recommend? So I kind of wanted to jump into that today just because it comes up so often that I thought it would be valuable to other people who may have the same question. Today we wanted to compare the three main ways that people grow or get grass in their lawn, either establishing a new lawn or filling in bare spots. And those ways are seed, hydroseeding, and sod. And what I want to do is I want to jump into talk a little bit about the costs, the time length, and just overall picture what's the best for the scenario that I have. So let's look at the cost. So with seeding, overseeding, that's the process of when you can go to the store and you can buy the seed. So you want to get a local seed that's going to fit your area. So if we're in Utah, you're not going to put a St. Augustine or Bermuda grass lawn in because those are more warm season. They're down south. So you're going to look at a Kentucky bluegrass or some type of fescue lawn. And so you want to make sure you get the right seed for your area. Generally, you can buy seed in Utah, you can get them at different places, at Ace, IFA, Tractor Supply. But it's a big deal. You want to get the right type of seed and the right variety of seed, because inside of a bluegrass, there are tons of different types of bluegrasses and different types of fescue. So once you understand what you already have or what you're trying to put down, all you basically do is you get the seed, you put it in a spreader, and you apply it over the area. Now, there's a little more to it. There's some prep work. You want to get rid of rocks. You want to get the soil moist. You want to make sure it's fertilized, balanced, do a soil sample. And then once you put the seed down, if it's really bare, you're going to want to cover it with some type of covering, a 1/4 inch of peat moss or compost, or a light covering to protect the seed from animals, from getting washed away. And so there's a little bit of work there, but economically, that's your cheapest route. Generally, to put down a seed, it's going to cost you 5 to 8 cents per square foot. That is for you just to get it and put the seed down. Now, obviously, there are companies who will do it, and they have some extra tools and tricks, and they're good at what they do. But that's overseeding. You're going to put all the seed. You're going to get a 50-pound bag. Sometimes it could be $200 for a 50-pound bag. Sometimes it could be $100. It just depends on what the seed is and where you're located. You're going to put it in your spreader, and you're going to spread it evenly across the lawn. And like I said, there's more pre- and post work, but we're mostly comparing seeding. With the seed, it takes time, and it's a lot of babying to get that to come up. You have to have your irrigation in perfectly. So it might go off 5-6 times a day for just 3 or 4 minutes. The idea is you want to keep that seed moist for 3 weeks at least, depending on the type of seed. It could be longer, it could be shorter, but you don't want to overwater it. There's so much babying involved with a new seed. But once you get it up and once it begins to germinate, then you can really look at fertilizing it, and then after a certain period of time, getting some weed treatments on it. And so it is the cheapest at 5 to 8 cents per square foot, but it takes the most amount of time. And there's a lot of variables, a lot of moving pieces, and there has a lot of error involved. It could be misapplied. It could not be followed up correctly. You could have bad weather. There's so many things that could go wrong. So generally when people seed, let's say it's in the fall, they're going to do it again in the spring, and you're going to seed for twice a year for a couple seasons in a row. But again, 5 to 8 cents per foot. So if you're looking at costs and you're not afraid to do things yourself, you're going to want to overseed. The next thing is the hydroseeding. Hydroseeding is when generally you're going to hire a company because of the equipment most homeowners do not have the equipment. Where the overseeding, you could use any type of broadcast spreader that you can find at any store. Hydroseeders, it's a huge tank. They have all kinds. There's 200-gallon tanks. There's 20,000-gallon tanks. They're just all different sizes. They put the seed in. They put in a fertilizer. It usually comes out blue. They put some hay in or some type of cover, attacked. They mix it all in this big tank, and they have these huge wide hoses, and they shoot it down over. If it's a bare spot, they pull this big truck up, and they'll hop out, and this big arm will come out in the hose, kind of like a concrete truck, and they will just spray this down, and it'll look bluish or green. It'll have a dye in it so you know what areas were covered. And the nice thing about that is it's all mixed in. You've got everything mixed in. You're covering some fertilizer, some amendments, and so it's a really nice and you can see where you applied it. It's just a really nice process. As far as pricing, because you have to subcontract it out, it could be anywhere from 26 cents is the lowest, which I've never seen here, but online I found that some people were charging that, to 20 to 30 to even 40 cents a foot. So versus 5 to 8 cents a foot, this is a lot higher. In my experience, it depends on where you are, but I have seen phenomenal results in Utah with hydroseeding. Now, I know back east and down south, places where you can get good rain, overseeding can work awesome. Here, it's just there's so many variables. So the hydroseeding removes some more of those variables, and I love it. The downside is if you have a spot in the way back of your lawn, sometimes they don't have hoses to get that far, and they have to charge you more. The equipment's very expensive, and it's big and bulky. And so your cost can go up. So if it's in the front yard or if it's within their reach of their hose, I love hydroseeding. But if it's far back and out of reach, the charges jump up significantly, and I have to think a little more about it if it's the right fit for me. And the third thing is the sod. Sod is awesome because it's instant. You put the sod down, your lawn is in. The downside is it is the most expensive. We're coming in at somewhere 1 to 2 foot. That's for the product, for the sod, and to have it installed, because there's a big labor side on sod, the biggest. So there's a lot of cost. But some places you can get it for $1.50, $2 per foot installed, and it's like carpet. Once it's in, it's done. You can go play on it. Now, you have some strict guidelines as far as when not to fertilize, what to use, how much water to put down, etc. But it's going to be instant. It's going to be the most durable, the quickest. But it is by far the most expensive. Some things to consider when you're making your choice, what is right for me, is, again, where is the area you're taking care of? Because as I've said, if it's far away, if it's going to incur more costs, on the huge back of a 2-acre property, hydroseeding may not be the way to go. Maybe it's overseeding. If you have a lot of pets, you got to keep the pets off for weeks and the kids so that the seed is germinating without being trampled on. So if you got a lot of pets and things, sod could be a better option because it comes on right away. You can walk on it, within a few days, and you don't have to baby it as much as the seed. If you have a good lawn and there's just a few weak areas, seed could be the best way because it could be the most cost-effective, easy to apply, and it's really not going to take up too much resource because you have a thick lawn, that's going to protect the seed. You're just filling it out. So I love seed for overseeding lawns that are already pretty decent shape. But you've got to consider the terrain. If you've got slopes or areas with too much sun or shade, it may be very hard to get seed germinated, and you may not have the time and the energy to stay there with it every day for 3 weeks to grow it. So you may look at the sod. And then of course there's the watering. If you don't have proper irrigation, if you can't dial it in correctly, don't even bother with seed because it's not going to grow. That is here in Utah. Other places that are more wet, you're going to have better options there. So overall, all three are great tools. Sometimes it's a combination of all three. Sometimes, like I said, if it's a great looking lawn or a medium lawn and you got some bare spots, I overseed it and just thicken it out. If it's a good lawn with huge bare spots or just obviously noticeable bare spots that aren't too far from the street, I'll call the guys. They'll hydroseed it. I keep it wet. It's good. And if you're talking big sections or if you have a nice, perfect turf and a big dead spot that's way back somewhere, I may just find out the sod that was in there already, match it, and have a company come apply sod. There's really no wrong or right answer. It's just you have to look at your situation, look at the difficulties, the terrain, the weather, the irrigation, and make the best decision. And, of course, your budget, and make the best decision. I will say this. Sometimes people look at the cost of it. They look at the sod $1 to $2 per square foot, and they look at the seed 5 to 8 cents, and they go, this is a no-brainer, I'm going to seed. But then it takes them 5 or 6 years of constantly seeding, watering, all this babying, and all that time goes by, they still don't have the lawn that they want. And I say, okay, what if you had just gone with the sod, paid the money up front, and have enjoyed this lawn the whole time? So there's so many ways to look at it. Depending on where you are, it could be one way, it could be better than the other. But that's the three main sod, seed, hydroseed in a nutshell. And that's all I got for you today. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you on